What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are the Offside Zone. This is going to be our episode 10. We are back with the crew. We have Toby, Sam, Rafi, and Oswald. And it's been quite the eventful week in the Premier League. So we're just going to hop right in with the first question. Are clubs like Chelsea and Man City ruining the transfer market? Will financial fair play actually sanction them? And we want to let Toby start with this question.
Yeah. Just off Bucks. Yeah, Man City and Chelsea are clipped. Yeah, they swimming with the fishes at this point. Because Man City, I mean, all the times that we were talking about their financial prowess and their ability to, pick up players as if like history was involved, it's just been as clear as day now that it's just straight money. And all the allegations and stuff that's been built up against them, I think it's been building for a long time, and I think it's just finally caught up to them. And Chelsea fans should actually be aware. Like they should look at Man City and think otherwise of them loopholes and actually understand that FFP and all those other governing bodies are simply just letting them cook. As soon as they get to a place where they actually make a meal, FFP is going to swing in and they're going to bag all of them. Which is why I think it's just crazy when like Chelsea fans are like putting more spotlight into the fact that they're buying players at such a high degree of money. Like you spending 400 million in a January transfer window, and you think that FFP isn't going to look into it, or your governing body isn't going to look into it. I could promise you about 9, 10 other teams in the league alone are complaining about you guys buying other players. So like if you put all of that into the equation, hell yeah, they're gonna get sanctioned. And hell yeah, they're ruining the transfer market because they blowing up everybody else's cover if they try to get any other players for high money.
All right, Oswald, I'm gonna let you go next. I see you got your other squad's jersey on. In light of this news, and I'm wearing black. Because of this funeral that's happening right now for Manchester City, or will be a funeral. But what do you think?
Listen, we are the original big money spenders in the league. I mean, we've been doing this, 20 years now? It's been 20 years exactly right now. And we have not gotten in any trouble except for that one time when we got suspended from...
You can't say we haven't gotten in any trouble and then say
any major trouble besides that 1 year suspension, but we still qualify for the Champions League. Teams like Man City blown money on players out the waters without giving them long-term contracts. I don't know what to tell you, man. So for your team, listen, we found a way. Chelsea has found a way to go into loopholes, getting players for long-term contracts, paying them in installments, which City should have been doing.
Those installments not about to save you, bro.
At all.
Listen, those installments are showing that we're not paying the full. Let's say from Mudryk, right? We're not paying the full 100 mil up front. We're giving them 20 mil per year. So technically, we're in good hands. I'm not worried about FFP. That FFP is fake. FFP is fake, and that's my take on it.
All right, that was a great take from Chelsea's financial advisor. Next, Rafi, what do you think?
It's not just Chelsea and Man City. Like other teams spend a lot of money too on certain players. Like, I remember Arsenal bought this loser Pepe for like 90 mil. Like, Man United has bought some terrible players too. Like, a lot of money is being spent, and like, I question like how some of these teams can do it at such a frequent rate. Like Chelsea, that was just crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. For what, 400 plus mil, like that's kind of OC. But like I feel like it is in a way, but like that's just how it is. Like money at the end of the day will get you what you want. And although like for the league itself, like it sucks because it's like we're just gonna see the same teams win over and over and over again. I don't think we'll see another like Leicester City season unless Newcastle like they're like kind of the Leicester City of this season. Like they're like competing. They don't have as much money as other teams do. They're not spending 400 million. They're still in what I believe top 5. And but the answer to this question is I think they are, but I don't think nothing will ever happen to these teams. Doesn't matter.
All right, Sam.
Yeah, I think that Chelsea and Man City are continuing to ruin the market, following on from teams like PSG. That I think is the first team that really threw the market out of whack with the purchase of Neymar. I think ever since then, like the market's just been inflated, and teams like Man City, PSG, Chelsea, teams that have that big money can just go into their pocket and just buy anybody. It seems for any price, and it's catching up with them at this point. I do believe I've never thought that like the FFP regulations will actually take effect because we've seen Man City was once charged with um, FFP infractions, but then they fought it in court and they won. So like I didn't really expect this to happen, but I think now this is going to put fear into other clubs for that big money spending that they like that has become the norm in football nowadays. I think that with the amount of evidence over the amount of time that Man City is being charged with, there's no way that they don't get charged with something. We don't know what the sanctions are going to be, but they're going to definitely get charged with something. I think they're coming up next because to spend that much money in a January transfer window, I don't think we've ever seen a club spend that much money in one window like that. Like in a January winter transfer window, not even summer, like a winter transfer window. So I mean, like I
30
think
days.
definitely, yeah, exactly. That's crazy. So I definitely think that FFP is gonna do their job. They're coming for these big clubs now.
And even Man U, bro, y'all should be on the lookout too. I don't know why he mentioned Arsenal and Pepe as if like we
I was
didn't
just saying,
pay
like in general.
80 million in installments over 5 years. If you look at the last 5 years and you compare spending, Arsenal is probably half of what Man City has spent.
No, yeah, I agree.
Arsenal is probably half of what Man U has spent and half of what Chelsea has spent. So like teams like Chelsea, Man City, Man U that constantly try to break the English Premier League transfer record, buying Jack Grealish, Sancho, Pogba, all the big names of Mudryk for 100 million, Enzo for 121. That's probably 1/3 of that. Hey, FFP knocking at the door.
Installments.
You
Remember,
say, bro, like, I explain your installment theory. Explain it.
all right. So, according to the I forgot the name. I think it's the FFP rules. You can't just buy a player in the big one big purchase, like let's say like 100 million, like Mudryk. We have him for I believe it's 6 years. 6 years, right? I think that's 6 years. I believe so.
6, 8 years, one of
Eight,
those.
6 to 8 years, I believe one of those two. But that's a long period of time. How often do you ever see a player sign for 8 years? On average, you see them sign for 3, 4 at most. We signed them for 6 to 8 years. Don't quote me on that, but one of those two. But 6 to 8 years, that's a long time to pay off 100 million. That's like giving a player 20 million a season. That's
I I
Bro,
actually think in hindsight that actually brings more attention to Chelsea because at the
yeah,
end of the day, you sign a player for 8 years and
yes.
then you expect that player, like the world is not going to automatically believe that that player is literally going to keep to that same contract, same wages for 8 whole years. So even in that stipulation in terms of their contract, at some point, I think it's more of a possibility that you guys are paying him under the table because there's no way he's taking the same wages for 8 years, which is my point. So
it's
like
kind of
y'all
like
doing 8 years,
Listen,
being the first people to do 8.5 years and these big contracts, and you think somebody not gonna look at that?
listen. Players do this all the time, bro. Players sign for 4 years. maybe the first 2 years they play so well that everybody's looking at them. So, negotiation can always happen. He can always renegotiate his contract. So it's just part of the game, bro. He signed that contract. As long as he abide by that contract, that's all that matters. But he can always renegotiate about it. So that's it.
$100 million in like a week.
Bro, it's kind of like afterpay.
Listen, the thing is, we're the first team to sign players for long periods of time.
And that's my point.
How many big clubs do you see sign players for 6 years?
That's my point. I've only seen Atletico Madrid do it for João Felix, and they get investigated right now.
Yeah,
y'all are up next.
And the thing about it, you're saying it like, oh yeah, we sign these players for these long-term contracts. Like that team is gonna stay the same for 8 years. Like y'all just gonna have those players. What are y'all gonna do? Y'all are still gonna be signing more players next transfer window. So when does that come into play?
See, we're gonna get rid of most of those players that are on that roster prior to all these signings. Some of these players are gonna be gone. I can see at least.
So then you're going to sign players for like $5 million then.
Ooh.
I'm asking. So how much are you going to sign players for after that? Then once you get rid of those people,
how much are you selling the players that you have?
We'll have decent sell-on value. We got some players that got decent.
We got no value.
Like Mason Mount. If they sell
Mason Mount is clapped.
Oh, Mason Mount is English. Terrible. He's a good player. He's a good player.
Bro.
He can go for at least 50 million on this market at his age.
I mean,
his age, yes.
He's
English.
He can. He can, but I just ultimately think that tactic is not good in the long run because, like I said, like it's a contract at the end of the day. Like y'all are inside that obligated paper. So if that's the case, it's gonna be harder to get teams to buy those players that are under those contracts. I don't think you understand how harder that makes it seem for them. Not only would the player have a lot more power in terms of, okay, I'm staying in my contract for the years, it will make it harder in terms of other teams to buy that player from them because it puts the players, power in the players' hands to negotiate, really. So at the end of the day, bro, that 8.5 years that you guys are doing, it's a reoccurrence that brings huge spotlight to the team. It's not something to glow about. It's not something to be like, oh, we're the first players. I mean, we're the first team to have 6 players on an 8-year contract. Because at the end of the day, all that does is have FFP sniffing at your door. The big bad wolf coming at your door, and you come in and join talking about listen, we signed 8.5 years. We got a loophole.
FFP is going to try and close that. FFP is going to try and close that.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. But after the fact, though, we're in good hands. We'll be in good hands until after the fact.
The thing about it, too, is like kind of what Toby just touched on is just like, I see, like pundits, I see, other podcasters keep touching on these loopholes.
Yeah.
Y'all shouting loopholes to the high heavens.
Like
who else do you think is hearing about the loopholes? Who you think's in the
all
back?
The other teams are going to try to do the same thing. I'm aware, and that's what I'm saying. We literally brought light onto this. So FFP probably I can see FFP closing all those loopholes after us.
And like I said, I think I mentioned this earlier, but like in terms of like governing bodies, like because they rule the league that you're in, they determine what's illegal and what's not legal. They make the rules up. So like I said, they letting Todd Bowley cook. They let him cook. Go ahead, find all the loopholes that you want. Keep spending $400 million in one transfer window. One summer, y'all gonna be on top of the world. All you're gonna see is Chelsea being multi-investigated for 20 counts of financial and unfair play. And then you guys gonna come and you're gonna be sitting here crying because you guys were finding loopholes. Like, you can't be serious, bro. 8.5 years and putting that spotlight on your team is not something to brag about, bro. Read my lips. You're ruining it, fam. You're ruining it for everybody else. You're ruining it. I don't think you understand that. Listen,
man. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that's going on with these Hyundais and what's it called? We'll call Kias. 2017 and prior, people are getting those cars hotboxed and stolen easily. They've already found another way, a solution to like lock it in place. So, hey, shit happens.
Yeah, y'all are next, bro. It's okay, bro.
Like y'all are next.
Nope.
It's okay, bro.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. So, Harry Kane has done it. He has broke the all-time scoring record for Tottenham Hotspur. So this begs the question, did Harry Kane make a mistake not moving away from Tottenham earlier in his career? I'm going to let Sam start with this question.
That's honestly a tough one because you think like at the end of his career, is he gonna have any titles to show for how good a player he is? And I don't think he is. I don't think he's gonna win any titles at Tottenham. So in that way, you can say he did kind of make a mistake not leaving Tottenham earlier in his career. But at the same time, he's become a legend for Tottenham too. And he would not have broken the all-time Tottenham record, which is a legendary feat for that club. So it's kind of hard to say though. Like depending on the club he would have joined, I think he had a chance to join Man City earlier, which would have been, I think, a great move for him. I think he would have actually fit very well in Pep's system at Man City. But who really knows at this point? Who really knows?
All right, Rafi.
I don't think it's bad that he never left, but from like a player's perspective, he didn't win anything else other than he just scored goals. That's the only thing he wanted. And he is a decorated player. Like he's a great player overall. And I think he should have left earlier in his career just to go win something, play meaningful football instead of playing just chasing pretty much stat padding with one team, looking like a legend just for one team, but not challenging yourself to go elsewhere. Kind of like what Ronaldo did going to United from Real Madrid. Like he went to go win. And like Kane could have went honestly like wherever he wanted because he was cooking, but he never did that. And I mean, although he is a club legend and I don't think it's a horrible thing he never left, I just think like he'll be the guy who like scored a lot of goals, but he never really won anything. He lost in the Champions League final. He was never really close to winning anything else, I don't think. And yeah, honestly, that's it really.
All right, Oswald.
Yeah. I mean, the way what's the president of Tottenham? What's his name again? I forgot his name. But the way he runs his team is similar to the way Todd Bowley is doing it. Keeping players, tying players down for long contracts. Harry Kane was on a 6-year contract. But and I don't think he really he didn't make a mistake. I mean, he's an all-time goal scorer for the team. Legend. He's definitely gonna have a trophy, as soon as he retires. So, if he was really chasing trophies, he could have jumped ship to join Man City like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And that would have been the perfect situation for him and City. He would have been the perfect player. Striker, scores, assists, does everything. But I don't think him staying at Tottenham was the wrong decision. I think he's gonna get a trophy. I mean, a statue and all that. Becomes a cup legend, all-time goal scorer, most memorable player, and that's everyone's gonna remember him in the Premier League just for staying at Spurs. So yeah.
Toby.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame Kane for any decision he made in the past to stay with Spurs because he broke the record. He literally, that's the club that gave him the platform to be able to shine in the EPL in the first place. So like he did owe it to them to stay there for a bit. He's done that. But what I will blame him now is if he does not leave this summer. If he does not leave this year, this summer, when his contract is over, he has no real ambition. Like, he has no real ambition after that. Like, you've done it. You've been loyal, overly loyal. You've become the club legend. Nobody will blame you. And like, there's like the situation in the club isn't even that great. Like, you guys are battling for top four when for real, you're one of the best strikers in the league and should be in a
Two.
honestly, literally in form too, and should be challenging for the title every year, and could be if you went to another club. So like, if you sit there, you look at Antonio Conte sitting there saying, "I need more players," and he's arguably going back and forth with the Tottenham board to buy more players and invest more in the squad, and you can see that he's not getting that, and you can see that he might jump ship. Why are you sitting there chalking up saying that you're going to sign another contract? Another long-term contract at that? It's like you just don't learn your lesson. It's like you don't understand the gravity that comes with the fact that you might be one of the best English Premier League strikers of all time that has never won a trophy. Like, you got people on podcasts talking about some Jamie Vardy has a better career than you. And it's arguably true. Because Jamie Vardy has won everything you've won as an individual. And he's won trophies as well. So like, what are you really like? What is really outside of the statue? Cool, which you would have got 2 years ago, anyways. Because what is Spurs? You would have got that 2 years ago, anyways. But outside of the fact that your personal being able to break the record, being able to say you're the most scorer in Tottenham history, what about the trophies, bro? What about getting Ballon d'Ors or getting, you understand, getting stuff of real recognition, like as an achievement outside of the, the golden boots that you should be racking up anyways because you're one of the best strikers. It will be absolutely irreparable for his career if he does not move this year. If he doesn't leave this summer, then he's as non-history as Tottenham Hotspurs, bro. If I'm being honest.
My thing is, where is he gonna go if he leaves? I mean, like, other than
anywhere,
I would see
Madrid,
Man
anywhere.
Don't see if he goes to another team in the Prem, it's gonna look bad. It's gonna taint his career at Spurs. I'll say Madrid.
What?
Madrid needs a striker.
What?
Bayern would be nice.
Bayern would be nice. I would think that his two options would probably be Bayern or Man United, because I don't really see him going to any other big club
at Man United
right now.
How would going to any other club in the English Premier League hurt his image at Spurs? Spurs is nothing. That is him. That is him.
He can't go to another London club in England.
I'm true. Yes, he could go to Chelsea.
He could go to Chelsea.
He could go to Chelsea.
He can't go to Arsenal.
He just can't go to Arsenal, and who cares? So at that point, it's like, bro,
y'all would take him.
At least you would win something. I'm not saying we wouldn't take him. I'm saying he's not coming to Arsenal. But like he would go somewhere else in London or go somewhere else in England in the first place. Bro, you could win a League Cup at least. Win the FA Cup at least, bro.
Well, it's not like he hasn't had chances though either, though.
I mean, he never had a real chance.
He folded that.
He never had a final. He did an FA Cup final and Champions League final.
No.
He get it done too.
He folded then.
He never had a real chance, bro. Let's be honest.
Champions League final?
That Champions League final was like a Cinderella story, bro.
That was the worst.
Literally, as soon as they got to the final, we knew they were gonna get clipped. We knew they were gonna get clipped.
That was one of the worst games that we've ever seen. If he was that guy, he would have stepped up in it.
But that's what he never had a chance, bro, because he's with the Spurs. They're not winning nothing.
They made it to the final. What you mean?
Exactly. They are serial losers. They come close to top four. They come close to even sometimes breaking into top 3, top 2, and they come up short every year. This is what they do. They are winners of losing. They don't do anything, bro. So like I say in hindsight, in the whole totality of things, they never really had a chance, bro. People play at Spurs in order to go to the next level. And then they leave that team to go play and win some trophies. So if I'm sitting there as Harry Kane, as one of the best strikers of all time in the Prem, You telling me you're not even gonna slide to somewhere else in UK that everybody will take you outside of Arsenal? You're telling me you're not gonna go there to at least get a Carling Cup, to at least get an FA Cup, something, at least a picture of a trophy in your hand.
I think his best bet is Man U. But that's the one
I
team
don't-
that does not have a solidified
Let's go to
striker.
Madrid. Go to Madrid, bro.
If you go to Madrid,
I don't see him at
He
Madrid.
would
I don't
start.
see
He
him.
would start. He
I don't
would
see him
start.
at Madrid. He
No,
wouldn't start
Benzema's
over
been getting
Benzema.
injured a lot lately, though. Like, and he's
Benzema
older.
exists.
And
He won the Ballon d'Or last year, bro.
I don't see
I'm
him
aware.
leaving. I
I
don't
don't see English players at Real Madrid.
He's not going like no.
Nah, he would.
Until Benzema literally decides to hang it up, no strikers replace him at Madrid, bro.
he can go anywhere that he wants to win a trophy. That is my point. Like, even if he's on the bench, he could go anywhere he wants to win a trophy. Look at the options that we're talking about. He could go to Bayern. He could go to any English club that he wants. He could go to, if they want him on the bench at Real Madrid, and that's far fetched. But at the end of the day, they were linked with him at some point. So like, it's not like he doesn't have suitors. If Harry Kane sat there and said, "Hey, I want a transfer request. I'm available in the summer for free," bro, the whole world is taking him, bro, and he's gonna win anywhere that he goes to because those teams that we're talking about are automatic steps to win something. They're at least gonna get a Carling Cup, bro. Get something. Like, you post Jamie Vardy's photos of trophies next to Harry Kane's, bruh. Gee, it's sad.
He has an Audi Cup. He
Yeah,
has an Audi Cup.
Serial losers, man.
Moving on to other losers. Let's talk about Liverpool. It's been quite the disaster class for them this season. So this will beg the question: is for Klopp. Does Klopp have to be sacked at Liverpool? What do you think they have to do to turn the club in the right direction? Rafi, what do you think?
I don't believe Klopp. I don't believe it's his fault. I don't think he should be sacked. Like, especially with everything he's done for the club, I don't think he's like the problem. Like, overall, you look at their club, you look at their team, like, they're not good, honestly. Like, they lack in a lot of different places. I don't think it's his fault at all. He tried to sign good players. Like, he tried to sign Cody Gakpo. Like, I think a lot of clubs would have done that after the World Cup. I don't believe it's his fault though. Like, it's not his fault that Mo Salah, Darwin, all these guys can't score goals, and you see them get just like outworked against Wolves, and I don't think that's Klopp's fault. I think it's the player. I think they need pretty much what Man United had, what Chelsea is having, just kind of a rebuild again, because obviously it's not working, and they keep trying to make it work, but I don't believe it will work. Like, you lose Mane, who's arguably your best player, and it's hard to replace someone like that. So I think they just need like a rebuild. They need like a restart. I don't think they'll be top 5, top 6. I think they'll keep probably losing games, keep winning some games. I bet though that they'll probably beat a top 6 team just cause. Like, why wouldn't they? But I don't think it's Klopp's fault. I think the team needs a rebuild, and they just need better players overall. They keep sticking with older players. I noticed that a lot, who just don't work. But it's like Liverpool is very loyal to their older players. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think it's Klopp's fault. I just think they need a rebuild.
All right, Toby, I saw you shaking your head a little bit earlier on. What do you think?
I mean, all of that is credible. I think a lot of people are gonna say, a lot of times we're a little too harsh on Liverpool. But yeah, let's be honest here. I understand that, their midfield is a little older. I understand that they might not be in the best positions like a Man City. You understand? But at the end of the day, bro, your team should be beating Wolves. Your team should be beating the Brighton, bro. I'm gonna read off the players on this team, right? Salah. No, let me say that one more time. Mohamed Salah. Okay. Virgil van Dijk. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Right? Right? Thiago Alcantara. Jordan Henderson. Bro. With that, just those 5 names right there, that's enough. And look, Robertson, too. Oh, let me go to the goalkeeper. My bad. Allison Becker. Oh, okay. Let me go to the people. Ibrahima Konate on the bench right now. So this is what I say, bro. This is what I say for the people that are Liverpool fans, right? The thing about this and their situation is that, we like to make excuses and stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is that those people, those names, are players that just played at the World Cup. A lot of them are fully international. They are good enough to beat these teams. There's no reason they should be in 10th. Even if they're doing a bad run or whatever the case may be, their players are old, kudos to you. But those players are fully internationals. Half of the people that I just named were at some point Team of the Year players, PFA award winners. So if I'm sitting here and I'm assessing the team and I'm assessing what Klopp has done with the team, it's not good enough. Like point blank, period. And we like to give Klopp enough time, yes, bro. But the truth, he's been there for 8 years, bro. Arsene Wenger was the biggest thing in terms of a manager, one of the biggest icons in terms of a manager for Arsenal. He managed on for more than 10 years. You understand? Sir Alex Ferguson, same thing. But at some point in time, bro, it just doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't click anymore. Like, you need to regenerate. You need to regen. You need to come in new. You need to freshen up. And like sometimes it's on the players, and every year is really on the players to refreshen up. But sometimes it's on the manager. And even with this squad right here, as as old as they are, as people like to say, they are better than what they're showing. They are way better than what they're showing. They should at least be within top 6 UEFA conference, something. But they're in 10th. How is that acceptable for a team that's been challenging with Man City for the last 6 years? So if I'm sitting there assessing it to that degree, yeah, Klopp should be looked at because some fairy tales come to an end. And that's all I'm saying about Klopp. It might not be, the most perceivable thing to do, the most wanting thing to do, but at the end of the day, like if you look at this team and you look at what Klopp has produced this year, it's been shambles. Every single time he comes off the pitch, he says he doesn't understand it because he don't want to look in the mirror and say, "Hey, my time, it might be coming to an end here." And that's all I'm throwing out there, man.
Okay, Sam.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think that they're gonna give Klopp at least another season, just because of what he's accomplished in his tenure at Liverpool. They've made it to 2 Champions League finals. They've won one. They've won a league title.
3 finals.
3 finals. So yeah, I think they're gonna. This is their first bad season under Klopp. So I think they're gonna give them another. They're gonna at least give Klopp another year to try to figure things out. But I think what Klopp needs is a reshift in his lineup, his formation. I actually think that he should move to a 3-5-2. I think he should move Robertson and Andy and Alexander Arnold as wingbacks because you see them getting exposed a lot on the wings, and that's because we know Trent is not a great defender. So instead of having him at the back, you lost a player like Mane, and that gave a lot of other players on the team a lot of leeway defensively because he covers so much ground and he works so hard. So when you lose a player like that, there's gonna be something you have to make up defensively. So I think that he has to reshuffle his formation and his structure of his team, and maybe you can start getting some results because they have great players at the team. Like it's not like they don't have good players at the team. Konate, Van Dijk,
full internationals that just
you
played.
have Matip. Like there's some good center backs at the team. You have decent center midfielders at the team.
World class Alcantara.
World class. Like Elliott is a prodigy
at the team that can win games. obviously they've had injuries to Diaz and Jota. I think that has definitely affected them as well. But I just think they need a reshuffle. I think the loss of Mane, like once again, I think that took away from a lot of the work that the team did because he did so much for the team. So I think he just has to restructure, and maybe it can turn around. They're definitely going to give him at least another year to figure stuff out, just because of what he's accomplished.
All right, Oswald.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what Sam said. Klopp has built up enough credit to the point where this season they'll kind of look on the other turn the other cheek away, and I think he's gonna get one more transfer at least before they can actually either they keep on with him or they get rid of him. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say, man.
All right. Now let's move on to the topic of PSG and Mbappe in particularly. Does Mbappe have too much power at PSG? Will him taking the captaincy away from Kimpembe cause problems? I want to let Oswald start.
I mean, any player at stake in the team where he can affect and make decisions for the team, it's a no-no for me at least. The man has enough power where he can get rid of players on that roster. Um, like as of right now, they took the captaincy away from Kimpembe, who's been there far, far longer than most of these guys on the team. He's been there since he was in the academy. So I found that very disrespectful for a player that has graduated in your academy and then made it to the first team, and then they disrespect them because of a superstar that wants to massage his ego. I think Mbappe is, has gotten his ego way too overinflated, and that's gonna affect the team a lot. I mean, it's affecting the team as we speak right now. Um, yeah, it would cause a lot of problems. It definitely would cause a lot of problems.
Okay, Rafi.
Um, I think it's a problem because of the way how they did it, but it was only a matter of time before he got it. Let's be honest. Um, like arguably he is their best player, but just like the narrative around it, like with him being a brat, with him like having like a role in there, like who's on the team and stuff like that, like with his role, I think that's what makes it look really bad. But I think it was only a matter of time before he got it. Like if we take away all the other stuff, like with him being a brat and everything, I don't think we're arguing this at all. But but yeah, I don't think it'll cause much problems as we think it will. But like they aren't playing that well, I don't believe. Uh, and we'll see in the Champions League if they show up because that's pretty much why they play every season. So if Mbappe can show up, if he can play, then it's all good, I think. So, but yeah, it was only just a matter of time. I don't think like it matters really.
All right, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to that to a degree. I think the bratty attitude of Mbappe is what would, in my opinion, keep him from being a captain of a team that I ran. Though, like you can't be a brat and be a captain. That's not how captains behave, you know. But he is. Nobody's questioning his ability as a player, his talent. But it's not always a player that's a great player that's captain material. That's another thing. Um, but I think I agree with your point that I don't think it's going to cause as big problems. Just because everybody already knows the power that Mbappe has, and there's really nothing anybody can do about it. And they've known that since the summer. So, I mean, I just don't think the team is built to win any major competitions outside of Ligue 1, which they have basically no competition. Um, whenever they've played against bigger teams and better teams, they always lose. Something always happens. They always choke, and I think that's just going to be what happens yet again. They're just another team that's just went into their bank account, spent money on whoever they wanted and think that, you're just going to put some money together and get whoever you want. It's going to work out and you're going to win all the titles. But I don't think that's how it works all the time.
I forgot to add, I think you kind of have to do it too, because Mbappe is going to leave eventually. So I think with you giving him this, you're making a last run almost. Like you're kind of giving him what he wants. You're making a good run because everyone else is going to play regardless. Like I think with him getting this, like he probably feels, better and everything. But I think you kind of have to give him this role, and let's see if he goes somewhere else. I think you
But
kind of
but
have to.
but to that point though, like, would you have to give a player the captaincy if you know he's determined to leave already, as opposed to a player like Kimpembe who we don't see leaving PSG anytime soon? So after Mbappe leaves, they're gonna give the captaincy back to Kimpembe. That could cause a problem. But I mean,
I don't think so. I
I don't-
think
even
I
after
think if you
he's-
rate the
e-
players,
even after Mbappe leaves, he still has stake in that team. he, still, he still has some kind of power in that team, so it really wouldn't matter that much.
I actually think that yeah, PSG is digging themselves a grave, a very early one at that. Cause yeah, to Sam's point, Mbappe is leaving. So like you take somebody like a Kimpembe who literally has credibility in the team, who's like seen the vision of PSG in a very natural, pure way. Like he wasn't brought there because somebody opened their checkbook and was inside their daddy's living room saying, "Hey, I'm gonna pay you guys the world. I'm gonna change your life." Nah, Kimpembe was there through thick and thin. I'm talking about when they were, you understand? So he came up through the academy, and to disrespect players of that caliber and disrespect players with that mindset, it makes the whole team very bad. It makes them look really bad because those are the players that really make the team. Those are the players that in the future they're gonna stay there forever. They're gonna be there retiring at the club saying, "I don't want to leave here because this is my home." And what PSG are doing is destroying their home. That's what they're doing. So like you give a player not only you give a player distinctive power that everybody else doesn't have, but you make examples of players that grew up with the squad, that came up through the squad and worked their way to get into the first team by trying to satisfy a player that ultimately we all know publicly wants to leave. It's like again, it's like you're saying, hey, here's this, like take whatever you want in the club. It doesn't mean jack nothing as long as you stay. And that goes to show that PSG really has what type of value of a club is that when you can sit there and say, hey, I'm gonna take a captaincy away from a player that has been there through thick and thin, who's clearly more of a better leader on the team than Mbappe. And I'm not talking through just ability, but just talking wise, just like captain characteristics, clearly more fit for that position. It's like if Mbappe said, "Hey, I'm the head honcho in front of Marquinhos too." I see it as the same level because whenever I watch PSG, you know who's clapping, you know who's getting people to keep going and stuff like that is Marquinhos and Kimpembe. So I'm sitting there like, why are you doing that? And then you got, I think it's bad because you got him going, you got Kimpembe going on Instagram publicly saying, "Hey, why did you guys do that to me?" Like that's not handled internally. So clearly he's speaking out so that other people can be aware of the situation because he feels like he's been hard done. So with that being said, if he's talking to us as fans publicly, then you know it's a wahala in the internal situation. You know he's sitting there in the office saying, "Why did y'all do that?" You know it's wrong. So Mbappe is burning bridges, trying to be this head honcho guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he come out and he's the captain of the next 5 games over Marquinhos or something. And obviously I'm being dramatic, but like it shouldn't take PSG losing their dignity as a club to please a player that's ultimately going to leave you this year or next year?
Very valid points from everybody. So let's take a trip down to Italy in the Serie A and talk about Napoli. Is Napoli as good as the best teams in Europe this season, or does Serie A make them look better? I'm going to let Sam start with this.
I think Napoli is a great side. I think they can definitely make a run in the as far as the Champions League goes, but I don't think they're at the level of the top clubs in Europe. I don't think necessarily they've been tested. Um, I think the Italian league, I mean, it's a good league, it's a competitive league, but I don't think the Italian football has been at a high level in a long time. Um, and for that reason, I don't think that Napoli's going to challenge any once they meet the big clubs like a Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or Man City. I guess I don't think they're gonna be able to overpower them, beat them, get past them. I think they're a decent side. They've been on a great run, but I think their league definitely makes them better because just overall Serie A as a whole has just not been at a high level. We haven't. I think there's only one Italian team that made it to the knockout stages of the Champions League, and we haven't really seen an Italian team make it far in the Champions League in a long time. I think, or win it. So yeah, I think the Italian league definitely makes them look better.
All right, Toby.
Yeah. As far as Napoli, shout out to Victor Osimhen, fellow Nigerian. Obviously, I'm gonna size them because of that, but like, yeah, to Sam's point, they're not battle tested outside of maybe the Liverpool squad that they faced. But even Liverpool this year, they're probably the worst
Exactly.
Big Six team that we've seen with Chelsea in the EPL. So it's not necessarily something to really brag about. And then when you consider the fact that like the next people that are supposed to really challenge them in the Italian league are Juventus that just got deducted 15 points, Inter Milan that's not really firing, and then you got your Milans and stuff that are revamped. But at the end of the day, their starting striker is Giroud. You understand? So like when you look at it and you compare them to like teams that are gonna make those huge runs in the Champions League, like a Man City or a Bayern Munich, especially a Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, it's gonna be curtains for them boys in Naples. So yeah, I think they have some breakout performances this year. Oshim is on fire. The other man's I can't pronounce his name, but he's on fire too. Left wing guy. Yeah, he's on fire too. But at the end of the day, those are natural. Those are the Cinderella stories that we get every year. And at some point, reality catches up, and you meet teams like a Bayern or a Man City or a Real Madrid. So yeah.
All right, Rafi.
Um, kind of relating to what everyone else says. They haven't been tested, but I do believe that they can beat some teams just based off of their form. And I believe they can make a run. Could they win the Champions League? Maybe not, but like I'm definitely not writing it off. Just based off form, like you can win anything, especially with how their players are playing. Like their top two guys, Oshiman and the other guy, they're absolutely cooking. Like, dude, like they're destroying. Like you don't just like write that off against a better team. Like, yeah, it'll be a little harder to score, but they're definitely gonna I believe they can get it done. And if they have a just fine enough rest of the team, I think they'll do fine. Um, so I believe overall, like they can make a run, they can compete, and because their form is just crazy. And yeah, I believe that's it. Really.
All right, Oswald.
First of all, the guy's name is Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. Uh,
Yeah, you got it, bro.
His name is Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. Um, and the other guy, Victor Osimhen, they've been playing fantastic this season, man. They're playing amazing football, very entertaining. direct counterattacks, ball possession. That's what the best teams, really do. Like teams like Man City, your Arsenal at the moment, your Barcelona, your Bayern. They're playing at the highest level. I don't see them actually falling off the season. I think they will go really far into the Champions League, and they're definitely going to win the league. So far off, like maybe at least 15 points. I think they can go all the way to the semis in the Champions League. If they make it over there around that time, I think anything is possible in the Champions League. Once you get to that semifinal phase, anything is possible, man. Anything is possible.
It's the Champions League. It all depends on the draw ultimately. You know what I'm saying? In the Champions League, like you think if they draw a Bayern next round,
Hearns.
You think
I think so. No,
Hearns.
No. See, in terms of form, like they have 23 wins in 28 games this season. 23 in 28, and they've only had, I think, 2 losses this season. That's insane.
Them boys not ready for a big moment like that. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I think, like you said, Cinderella stories happen, and I can see them making it to the semis. That's just, that's how far I can see them. And from the semis, anything is possible. Anything can happen. So.
Yeah, they would have to get a very likable draw, and I'm not saying they're not gonna ruffle a couple feathers because they will, especially at home and at Naples City. Like they're gonna go crazy because we've seen Napoli do crazy stuff before, anyways. But I think, and the biggest occasions when it comes down to the return leg and stuff like that, having to do that over 2 games, I think once they meet, one of them big time sides, the occasion is just gonna be too big for them boys, bruh. I don't see them like firing enough to beat a Bayern or a Real Madrid or a Man City. So, hey, we'll see.
All right. Any last minute concerns or remarks from anybody?
Yeah, Chelsea's next. That's
Listen,
about it.
I'm telling you now, watch
FFP coming for
FFP is fake. Fake football.
FFP about to get rid of Man City, bro.
Football program.
Yeah. I will just keep wearing that Barca jersey, bro.
It's just a jersey, bro. It's just a jersey.
All right, so that's going to do it for today's podcast. I want to give many thanks to all our viewers and the crew for the input today, of course. Please drop us a follow on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and please subscribe and like if you haven't already. We discuss new topics every week pertaining to the football world. In the comments, please let us know if you think Manchester City will face any sanctions from the Premier League due to financial fair play. As always, everyone, please stay safe, stay blessed, and see you in the next video.